So I wanted to discuss after last night's Kamsa Bar Kamsa shir to get into Sinat Chinam. But first, Arlo,
I had a question. Yeah.
A little bit of housekeeping before we get started.
A little bit of housekeeping, yes. Right? Because it seems every year, there seems to be a different quote take-home lesson on the whole saga that we learned last night. And last night we determined, or at least I perceived that the lesson was, think of your of the ramifications of your actions, so to speak. Okay. Right. And then I mentioned, last night, I thought, well, that seems to be like a secular lesson. It's like,
right.
Why don't we have a Gemara on eat a good breakfast so you'll be,
We do, actually. Okay. Rambam talks a lot about that.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it's got to be a little bit.
You want something more concrete to you?
More Judaic, if you will.
More Judaic.
Because that applies to
other like people also?
Well, to other people, to everything. And so that's one aspect of it. About, be aware of your consequences. And I mean, first of all, that is prevalent in probably all of Talmud, right? I mean, There's a cause and a reaction to everything you do. Yes. I mean, so it's a big duh, kind of. Okay.
Not when you're in it.
Well, no, but in learning the lessons, I mean, of course, everybody should go around thinking, if I do X, what's Y going to be? And Can I live with Y, or do I want to do? Okay. But aside from that, though, it seems that, had you thought about it in Kamsa Bar Kamsa,
right,
that there should have been some allowances, and boy, oh boy, talk about if you do X, what's Y going to be? I mean, here we were talking about, well, you should have taken the bull and sacrificed it,
right.
and go, but wait, people are going to think that because of that. You can take a bull that has a mum in it and use it all the way. Okay, well then kill Bar Kamsa. Oh, but now you're going to say that if someone does a mistake with the bull, it's.
So you're looking for like an underlying.
So wait. So if we're going to go down that road, then you got to be careful about where do you draw the line in terms of, yes, I can make allowances for A, but not B.
How far do you go?
Because
that's a fair question.
By not killing them, but Bar Kamsa, or not sacrificing the bull, it seems to me, ironically, that at that aspect of the story, they are actually thinking, if I do X, what's Y going to be? Now they
right, so
misjudge.
You and I are going to have to go head to head after, because.
Okay, I'm just that's what's been bothering me.
Yeah, because I'm afraid Parrots is gonna kill me. So we'll beat each other up about that afterwards. But I have a response. Right. You're not gonna like it. We're gonna fight a lot.
I mean that's. Yeah.
So
I'm not doing anything. Okay.
So Sinat Chinam, this senseless hatred, baseless hatred, free hatred, whatever you want to call it, is bandied about as the reason. Love you too. Is bandied about as the reason for why the second Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. The first one is destroyed supposedly because of the cardinal three sins, which is forbidden sexual relationships, murder, and idolatry. And the second one, baseless hatred. So I think that if you would go over to the average moral human being, whatever you consider and whomever you would consider to be a moral person, if you were to say to that person, hey, which do you think is worse, hating people for no reason or murdering and idolatry and adultery? I think most people would say it would be the big three, and not so much the fact that you're antisocial and you have personality defects, like people. I think most people would think that. Furthermore, why is it that you hear all the time, or at least I hear this, you'll tell me if you've never heard this, if only the Jews would love each other, then the Beis HaMikdash would be brought back. Let's pretend for a moment that we want the Beis HaMikdash to be brought back. We're laboring with that assumption in mind. Okay, so with that given, all we need to do to have the magic building come again is to love each other. We just need to be hippies. That's it.
All we need is love.
That's all. Yeah, that's right. That's it. Because after all, if the problem is sinat chinam, senseless hatred, then the remedy would be ahavat chinam, senseless love. Woodstock is all that God is waiting for. If only we could love everybody, then it would be 100%. Yes, David. It's not specifically adultery. It would be any forbidden sexual relationship. That's correct. So I don't think that's true. I reject that as a possibility.
What, the love thing?
Yeah, I don't think that senseless love is the answer. I also don't think that Sinat Chinam means senseless hatred. But I'd like to
Can we define senseless hatred also?
Yeah, we're going to do that. Not before necessarily. Okay. We have to get there. I want to go through the process.
Because I have a good reason for everyone.
I'm sure you do. So
I don't think it's senseless.
That's great. So let's start with Ariel's point, because it's a great point. I've never met anyone in my life who didn't have a very long Megillah as to why he hates this guy or that guy. Everyone has a reason. There's no such thing as senseless hatred. Hatred makes a lot of sense. Ask anybody who hates. They'll tell you how much sense it makes. They'll tell you. So it's not true, right? It's just very, very silly. There's another myth. Which is promulgated by well-meaning people internationally, that, what Sinat Chinam means is that the Jews who are Hasidic don't like the Jews who are Litvish, and the Jews who are Litvish don't like Chabad, and Chabad doesn't like the Reform, and that's not true. Chabad loves the Reform, but right, and the Reform doesn't like the Conservative, and we just don't like each other, right? That's not true either. That's just not true. Let's understand that just for a moment. Is it true that we make fun of streams who aren't exactly like us? Yes, that's true. It's true, right? We shouldn't. It's not nice. But everybody makes fun of the other team. You could be, if you're a Giant fan, you make fun of the Jet fans. Everyone makes fun of the Jet fans. That doesn't mean you hate Jet fans. You hate Eagle fans, but nobody hate Jet fans. You just feel bad for them. You pity them. So you make fun of people that are a little bit of a different stream. So the Sephardim and the Ashkenazim make fun of each other, and the Litvish and the Hasidim make fun of each other, but they don't hate each other. Come on. That's just not true. We don't hate each other. It's not a fact. When's the last time you saw Reform Jews and Orthodox Jews really hating on each other? Each one teases the other guy. It's not true. It's just not true.
I think the folks over at Meir Sharim, when you walk by and they throw the rocks with love?
Well, no, I don't.
I think that little section. I'm not talking about,
So, if anything, first of all, I think that would be an exception, which proves the rule. But I don't think that they hate it either. I think that they are zealots. So people who are religious zealots do all sorts of really crazy things, But either way, it's not a pervasive problem in the international Jewish community that Jews of this stream and this ilk are hating on Jews of that stream and that ilk. It's not something that we find on a general basis. I don't buy it. If whether you are Hasidic, Misnagdic, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Reform, Orthodox, if you hear, God forbid, that there was a pigua, a terrorist attack in Israel, do you think anybody feels it less, or anybody says, well, good thing they were Sephardi? Said no one ever. It's just not true. Good thing they were Orthodox. Good thing they weren't Orthodox. No one has ever said that. So it's a straw man that we keep beating up. So if we keep beating up a straw man, then obviously we're never going to get anywhere because we're beating up the wrong guy. So let's find the right guy and let's beat him up. So what I would like to do today, in hopefully a short time, because I'm very hungry and quite irritable, what I would like to do is explain a little bit about why the first temple was destroyed, a little bit about why the second temple was destroyed, and then hopefully get a solution. The Gemara says that the first temple was destroyed because of a revealed reason. And because it was destroyed for a revealed reason, therefore their time period of exile was also revealed. The revealed reason was these three cardinal sins, which we had mentioned before: forbidden sexual relationships, murder, and idolatry. And therefore their exile time was also revealed, and it was told to them that it would be a 70-year exile. However, the second temple, whose sin was not revealed, therefore it was not revealed how long they would need to be in exile, and here we sit today on the floor after 2,000 years in exile. Now, everyone is thinking, what do you mean it wasn't revealed? It was revealed. I thought you said it was senseless hatred. So it was revealed. Ah, yes. However, that's not revealed because that's inside. That's internal. See, actions like idolatry or murder that's an action that is open to everyone to see. But whether or not I hate you, that's internal, and therefore it is invisible, and therefore the exile was not explained. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you. Well, we'll say it again. We'll say it again. It's a Gemara in Yoma. Gemara says that the first temple, their sins were revealed, and therefore the term of exile was also revealed. The sins were the big three: idolatry, adultery, forbidden sexual relationships, and murder. So therefore, 70 years and you're done. The second temple, the sin was not revealed, and therefore the term was not revealed. What was the sin? The sin was Sinat Chinam. So we're explaining that since Sinat Chinam is in your heart, and therefore it's not revealed to other people, therefore the term was not revealed.
But how do we know the cause?
Just because the Gemara says. We're taking their word for it. Yeah, we're taking their word for it. We're taking their word for it. What does one have to do with the other? What does the fact that hatred is in my heart have to do with the fact that therefore God is not going to tell me how long the term of exile is going to be? What's the connection between the two? You're saying, well, it's invisible because it's in my heart and you can't see it, and therefore I can't tell you how long it's going to take. There doesn't seem to be that much of a connection between those two things at all. Again, to me, I don't see a parallel there. Just don't see it. Let's begin with the beginning. Let's go to the first temple very quickly, and then let's go to the second temple. It says that the first temple, we said they did the 3 cardinal sins. The Talmud asked the question, I understand, how could that happen? How could Jews be doing these awful things? murdering people and bowing down to idols. These just doesn't seem like something we would do. On the adultery, I still know a few Jews. But on the other two, I don't know any Jewish murderers. I don't know any Jewish idolaters, at least yet. I don't think I know any. If you can PM me afterwards, if you're one or the other, we can talk about that. So the Gemara asks, how could that be? How could that have happened? And the Gemara gives a very strange answer. It says, well, Al Shelo Barchu B'Torah Tchila. It's because they didn't make a blessing before they learned Torah. The reason that they did all these heinous actions is because they didn't make a bracha before they learned Torah. Sure, that's why. That sits well with you? So when I was in high school, the way that it was explained to me is that, if you read Torah like a science book, then it's not going to affect you. So people apparently were reading Torah like a science book. No one who ever read a science book would say that. You think there were vast universities of people studying Torah so that they could build buildings? I mean, who other than religious people study Torah on a regular basis? Nobody. And again, if you find me 5 people who do, so you found the 5. The people who are learning Torah in the hundreds of thousands are the people who are incredibly religious. They're not, and they don't read science books for the most part. So it doesn't stand. It just doesn't make any sense. I think what it means is very, very simple. What is a bracha? What is a blessing? What's the idea of a blessing? Blessings aren't magic. Blessings aren't, I want you to be very tall and very rich and very good looking, poof, and there's your blessing. That's not what a blessing is. The word for blessing in Hebrew is bracha. Bracha means a pool of water. Now, a pool, as opposed to a river or a stream, is something that has a finite amount of water in it, as opposed to a river or stream, which is essentially keeps being refilled from the oceans. Okay, a pool is not such. What a bracha is a specific utilization of your potential. That's what a bracha is. You have X amount of potential, and it can be used in a myriad of ways. And if you use it in this direction, then you're not using it in this direction. A bracha is a focused use of potential. That's why if you look through the Torah, and whether it's the way that Jacob blesses his sons, whether it's the way that Moshe blesses the Jewish people, it's never about you should have, you should become. It's never that. You know what the brachas are? The brachas are you are. You are this. Benjamin is this. Judah is this. Joseph is this. That's what bracha is. A bracha is the vision of the father looking at the son. It doesn't have to be a father and son, but you get the point. Saying, this is the best utilization of your character traits. If you use your traits in the best possible way, to the highest productivity level, this is the picture of you. Now, if you use those traits for other things, you'll be something else. You can be something else just as easily. Similarly, when we make brachas, what we're doing is we're understanding the connection and the continuum and the trajectory of how something began and where it is now. It's a focused trajectory. So for example, you sit down with an apple. You say, Wow, wow. God made this apple, right? Well, thank you. Thank you for the apple. I appreciate that. Thank you. There's an element of that. There's an element of thank you. It builds a good personality trait, right? It's a good character trait to thank people when you get something. But that's not what a bracha is. A bracha is the recognition of what an apple is. The recognition of an apple. Do you understand that from an evolutionary perspective, what had to happen in order for this apple to be here is unfathomably huge? I mean, it's enormous. There are no apples on other planets that we've found. Things had to happen through the chaos to get here. And it is, in fact, very chaotic. Evolution is very, very chaotic. So, yeah, you may have started with this Big Bang, but everything went through motions in order to get to an apple. Let me think about that before I eat it. Let me appreciate the apple and hope that more energy is focused in this way to bring more apples and not in a different way, which would bring thorns or other things. Therefore, very basic understanding of what blessings are. Now, if you take that understanding and plug it into learning Torah, why are you blessing your Torah? Well, it happens to be that there's no contradiction at all between people who learn Torah all the time and molest children.
And what?
And molest children. There's no contradiction there. Is there a contradiction there? What, you don't read the news? Is there a contradiction between people who learn a lot of Torah and cheat the government? Or their spouses? No. There's no contradiction there either. Well, why not? I mean, shouldn't there be? Why isn't it so that if you learn Torah, you become a great person? Well, why is that not so? Shouldn't it be automatic? It's like flipping a switch. You learn Torah and you become a great guy? Well, you don't. You don't. Because like anything else, it's a tool. Torah is a tool. So the question is how you use it. How are you going to use your Torah? Now, is it for a purpose? Whose purpose? Your purpose? God's purpose? Whose? If you use Torah for a specific purpose, the purpose that it was intended for, it will make you great. And it will make you pristine. And it will make you good. Good. If you don't, then it won't. And some of the greatest Torah minds ever in the history of the world were evil people, like Doeg and Achitophel and Yeravam. These guys were mega scholars, and they murdered people. I mean, they murdered people. How could that be? So when you bless the Torah, the same way you bless on your apple, the same way you bless your child, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Before you learn, the blessing has to be before you start learning. What am I about to do? Why am I studying this? Oh, because it's a religion. I have to study it. God said I have to wake up in the morning and I have to read these words. Well, if that's what it is to you, if it's a religion to you, I have to wrap these straps and I have to read these words and I have to go through these motions. It will never make you better as a person. It can make you wise. It's a smart book, so it can make you wise, but it will not make you good. A bracha is a focus of purpose. If you don't have a focus of purpose of why you're learning, but rather there's a disembodiment, there is a total dichotomy between the learning and the why and your life, then it's no contradiction at all to have major scholars who also happen to be murderers, and there were. Now, therefore, says the Gemara, the first Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because you had tremendous scholars and they were killing people, literally killing people. Well,
so what was the disconnect? What was the missing ingredient to make the whole thing go?
Purpose.
Huh?
Purpose.
So the ones that were studying the Torah, what did they perceive their purpose was?
I think
what were they doing?
I would say we study Torah because God said study Torah.
Concept.
Yeah.
Study Torah.
I go to West Point because my father went to West Point, my grandfather went to West Point, so I work very hard to go to West Point. What we never discuss is why am I in West Point?
See, I'd say a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that their purpose was so certain that it got them prestige, got them a better job, got them something.
That could be too.
And the other part of it is that they didn't internalize it.
Right. So that's I'm saying the second thing.
Yeah.
The first thing is a specific reason for a specific person, which I suspect is true. For this guy, it was this reason. For that guy, it was that reason. But for them as a group, what it was not, was an exercise towards a specific reason, which God tells you. He put this Torah here to do what? Well, the word Torah means to show. That's what the word means. It's to show. To show what? To show you how to be, to show you how to live. It's to create that society. So it's really funny because the Gemara's question to the average Western mind makes no sense. The Gemara asks, why did we lose? Why were we destroyed? Why were we exiled? That's such a silly question. Do you understand? Only crazy pastors in America ask that question, right? Why was there an earthquake? Only crazy people ask that question. What do you mean, why? Because you had an enemy and they beat you. Chazal don't look at the world that way. The rabbis say there's no such thing as they were stronger so they beat you. And by the way, anyone who studies Jewish history knows that. There's no they were stronger so they beat you. You beat yourselves. Why did your society crumble? From the inside. It's always from the inside. Why? Because the understanding is if God gave us this Torah and we follow it, we're going to be above any of that. We're not going to have those issues. So if something bad happens to us, we have to look and say, well, why did it happen? We lost the game yesterday. It's interesting. I heard once from Tom Brady that if he wins a game, that's fine. You can talk to him. If he loses a game, you can't talk to him for 3 days. What's he doing for 3 days? What, you think he's sulking? Oh, no. He doesn't sulk. He's watching the tape. What did I do wrong? I need to find out what I did wrong so I can fix it so it doesn't happen next time. It's unbelievable. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but I'm pretty sure that he hasn't lost 2 games in a row in his whole life, or if he has, very few times. Because lahavdil, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but the idea is certainly similar. Analyze what you're doing wrong so that you can fix it for the future. What did you do wrong?
But wait, let's go back to the time where they're learning the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
And from what you're saying, it seems they're learning. It's their version of a science book.
I don't think it's their version of a science book. I think it's their version of a religion.
Okay.
Religion is something you do.
So let me ask you. So they're reading the section that says "Don't murder,"
Right.
or they're reading the section of sexual
Right.
Deviant behavior.
Right.
They're done. They read it.
Mm-hmm.
They had their chavrusa.
Right.
Okay. And then they go outside and they go kill somebody.
Right.
Okay. What happened? Where's the Sinat? I mean, how can they?
I
mean,
that's
I don't.
such a great question. You know who the answer to your question is? The Nazis. When it says don't murder, I would never murder. Oh, him? That's not murder. No. I learned with my chavrusa in the Torah that it was a mitzvah to kill him. When King Achav kills his cousin to take his vineyard because he had a nice vineyard, yeah, great reasons for I should really have it. You justify it. Your motives will always end up not just as the method, but they will end up as the end also. Whatever your motives were, that's what your end is going to be. So if you allow the motives to come from you and not to understand what the purpose is, you'll destroy it every time. The difference is between the first and the second one, I think, simply not because the second one I can't tell if you hate someone because it's in your heart. I don't think that's what that means. I think the issue is it was easily identifiable what the mistake was, and in the second one, it's not easily identifiable. Yeah.
When the Gemara says that we weren't saying the bracha on the Torah, does it mean that we actually weren't saying that line, or that we didn't internalize?
No, we weren't doing it.
You know what we were doing.
Yeah, we weren't doing it. It just if you
physically weren't doing it, or
no, I think physically,
physically
we probably were. Yeah,
yeah,
physically
yeah.
probably were. So I'll give you 90 seconds on that. It's the reason that that the concept of a l'shem yichud really irks me from the inside. So if you'll humor me, I'll give you 180 seconds on l'shem yichud. For those of us who don't know, l'shem yichud is there are many people who have a custom before they do a certain mitzvah to say a Kabbalistic prayer to get you into the mindset of what you're about to do. So before a person puts on his tefillin, this is for the name of God Almighty, the Holy, the Wonderful, who told me to put on tefillin. And it seems like a wonderful thing to do. And then you make a blessing to put on the tefillin, and then you put on the tefillin. And there are l'shem yichuds by anything from counting the omer to your tefillin to any sort of mitzvah that you want, lighting Shabbat candles. You'll have l'shem yichud. So why does l'shem yichud bother Shlomo Sprung? I'll tell you why.
Why does it bother you?
Yeah, why does it bother me? I'll tell you why it bothers me. So, and it doesn't mean people can't do it. Or it's a personal thing. I'll tell you why it bothers me. The reason that the L'Shem Yichud was instituted was in order to focus your mind on what you're about to do. Right? That sounds like a great thing. That's a very noble goal. Focus your mind and don't have a disembodied action that has nothing to do with your life. That's wonderful. So first you say the L'Shem Yichud, then you make a blessing, and then you do it. Well, 1 second, what's the blessing? The blessing is the L'Shem Yichud. That's what the blessing is. Chazal instituted blessings so that you would focus on what you're doing and internalizing what you're doing. Then what happens? It becomes a religion. If it's a religion, no, you can't eat that sandwich. You need to first wash your hands and say words. Hamana, 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 delicious. It becomes empty. There becomes I have to do this, so I'm going to do it. Well, there were people who saw that was happening, and they said, well, now let's say L'Shem Yichud. Well, what do you think happened to L'Shem Yichud? L'Shem Yichud,
kept needing an
it's the same thing, right? So now you're going to need
more.
another one. You're going to need L'Shem Yichud. So the concept of L'Shem Yichud is backwards. It's backwards. You're identifying that there's a problem with the way that people make brachas, and instead of dealing with it, you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to make another bracha. So it irks me.
It could be a double focus, though.
A double focus?
Double focus, like even to get you to focus. I mean, it's like those.
And why not a triple
old,
focus?
Hasidic masters. They daven late so they can get in the right mood to daven.
They double what?
They would daven late.
Oh, they daven late.
Okay, so they would, but they got to shul early, but they took them, 45 minutes or so, or however long it took to get into the mood. In other words, it can help you get into
the zone.
I'm unconvinced that people who were on time for davening davened late. Very unconvinced.
I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying the masters.
The master.
Line.
I don't know that masters should daven late, but that's not. But I'll let that
I'm
one.
just saying,
They're greater than I am, so I'll
sometimes
stay
you
out.
need to focus before you focus.
Okay, I hear you.
That's using that as an.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Again, then they make 4 L'Shem Yichuds. Why 1? I mean, where do you stop? But I hear you, right? It's a personal thing. This is why I don't like it. So, the Hasidim Harishonim, they said they had an hour before, an hour during, and an hour after. It doesn't say they ever missed the time, though. If you're missing the time, you're not focused. No one ever missed the time because he was focused. You didn't miss your flight because you were focused on the flight, right? I think. So let's now get into the second one. The Gemara says the first one, its sin was concrete and understood and identifiable, and therefore the term of exile was also concrete and identifiable. The second one was not concrete, and therefore also the term is not concrete. Well, I mean, hatred is a concrete thing. Saying that it's not concrete because I can't see it like visibly, and therefore that does not do it for me. Doesn't. Let's understand the term now, Sinat Chinam. It does not mean senseless, and it does not mean baseless. That's what the word Chinam means. Chinam means free. The word Chinam means free. Free hatred? You usually charge for your hatred? Like, what do the words mean? I mean, you would expect the rabbis that if they're so... These rabbis probably were very sad that there's no temple, right? They were a lot more sad about it than you and I. So if they wrote so much about it and they concentrated so much about it, then they also probably chose the words very carefully because they wanted you to understand what they already understood. They said, this is such a problem. This is so pervasive. It's going to take so long, and we can't even see the end of this. We can't even see the end of this. And it's so hurtful, and it's so important that we need to make sure that further generations can work on it. And then they chose 2 words that no one understands? That can't be. It must be that they chose the only possible way to say what they were trying to say. And the truth is that it's not so cryptic at all. It's only cryptic because we think we already know what it means and we project. Let's go back to the beginning. We've mentioned before that Tisha B'Av is not a result of the temple being destroyed. Tisha B'Av precedes the temple by 700 years, give or take, destruction of the temple. Tisha B'Av goes all the way back to the desert, to the Midbar, and the sin of the spies. It says, this is a Talmud in Sota, it says that the Jews, when the spies came back, they told everybody, we can't get in. I mean, it's a very good land, The land is great, and here are these gigantic pomegranates and grapes and all these really, really cool things. But the people who live there are too strong. We're not going to be able to conquer them. Not going to conquer them. And the people cried. They cried that whole night. And the next day, Moshe comes and says, God has said, because you cried for nothing, atem b'chisem b'chia shel chinam, you cried for nothing. So I will establish for you a crying forever. No, there are a few interesting things to note here. Number one, atem b'chitem, you cried, b'chia shel chinam, a crying of chinam. Well, that's probably coincidental, right? Sinas Chinam, b'chia shel chinam, they probably don't relate to each other at all. Okay, first point. You cried for nothing. I'll give you a reason to cry. What does that sound like? It sounds a little bit like God's a jerk. That's what it sounds like, right? You cried for nothing. I'm going to give you a reason to cry. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? Seriously? What does that mean?
And was it true, though?
Well, it seems like because that night was Tisha B'Av.
No. But I mean, crying for nothing. I could play with that phrase. You cried for me. It wasn't nothing. I maybe misperceived, but it wasn't nothing.
Thank you. How could you say they're crying for nothing? They're crying because they're terrified of giants. If you have to fight Shaquille O'Neal with a stick, you got a reason to cry. After he beats you, you're going to cry again. So, thank you. Excellent. How could you say that they cried for nothing and then God's going to give them a reason to cry? The word chinam, I believe, comes from the word chen. Chen. What does the word chen mean?
Nice.
Favor, grace. It is generally used in the Torah when a person is motzei chen be'einav. I have found grace in your eyes. So, for example, Esther says to Achashverosh, if I found favor in your eyes, give me. And Noach finds favor in God's eyes, and this finds favor in your eyes. What's favor in your eyes mean? It's if you like me. That's what it means. If you like me. God, when he told the Jews to borrow all the gold from the Egyptians, yeah? You think the Egyptians were going to lend all their good stuff to the slaves so easily? I mean, come on. Right? If your slave walks into your house and says, pardon me, do you mind if I borrow all of your cash and gold and stuff? I'll give it back in a few days. Oh, sure. Take everything, right? I mean, what are the odds of that? Well, it says, Hashem nosan es chen ha'am be'enei Mitzrayim v'yashilum. God put the grace of the Jews in the eyes of the Egyptians. So what essentially is chen? Chen is, I like you. That's literally what chen means. I like you. Why? Because I do. Because I like you. See, so if you're pretty and I like pretty, I like you because you're pretty. If you're smart and I like smart, I like you because you're smart. If you're gritty, you're a gritty guy, you really try hard, and I like that guy. I don't know why, I just like him. Why? Because it fits your agenda, so you like him. There's no reason. It fits your narrative. It fits your agenda. Therefore, you like or don't like. If you look in the sin of the spies, you see something fascinating. The spies come back and say, it's a great land, the people are too strong. Now, the good spies, Kalev and Yoshua, say, don't worry, we'll beat these guys. Then the spies start talking again. And you know what they say? The land kills its inhabitants. The land kills its inhabitants? I'm sorry, what? Well, when we were there, we saw people were dying left and right. It's a land that's filled with plague. Answer me something. Yes, as they say in Yiddish, answer me something. The spies already gave their report. They start off with the report saying it's a fantastic land, the people are too strong, go home. That's the report. The good spies pipe up and say, we'll be able to beat the big guys. And then they start saying that the land is plague-ridden. Where were you 30 minutes ago? I don't understand. You gave your first report to Congress, and I looked at the transcript, and all you can say was how wonderful the land was, and now all of a sudden it eats its people? What does that mean? I have a narrative. I have an agenda. My agenda is that we're not going in. Those people are terrifying. I've seen them. They're huge, and we're not going to win. We're staying home. Now people are going to hit you with other facts. You're not going to confuse me with facts. You're not going to confuse me with facts. Don't you know the land is plague-ridden? It eats its people. It eats its people. Land is terrible. If you are married to an idea that you like or don't like, doesn't matter what anyone's going to say. You're not listening. You'll spin it again. Take all the facts, spin it, and it's amazing how far you can spin. Besinas Hashem otanu. You know why God took us out of Egypt? They said, "Oh, God took us out of Egypt because He hates us. He took us out of Egypt to kill us in the wilderness." How sick is that? How sick is that? I don't mean sick as an evil. I mean sick in the mind. How could you think that? How could you possibly think that God destroyed Egypt, brought them to their knees, the most powerful country in the world, with the most blatant miracles? He did all that for you, split the sea, drowned them. You know why He did that? Because He hates me. Because He hates me. No one from the outside could possibly think that. No one. But someone on the inside can think that. Because of Chinam. They'll think that. You have that with kids. My mommy hates me. Your mommy hates you? Yeah, she hates me. That's why she took away my treat and didn't let me go to the party. She hates me. Now, the kid believes this. Yes? The kid believes this at the time. I'm not saying 15-year-olds that say that believe that. They're just being manipulative. But a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, they believe that for that moment their mommy hates them. Have you ever heard something so stupid in your life? You think your mommy hates you? She feeds you, she clothes you, she does everything for you. She hates you? Yes, she hated me. Why? Because she didn't let me go to the party. I want to go to the party. If you didn't, the only reason that you would let me go to the party is because you hate me. Because if you knew how important it was to me, you would let me go. God took us out because He hates us. The problem of Sinas Chinam isn't Sina. It's Chinam. The problem was always Chinam. The problem was always putting things the way you see them. You happen to see them. Well, so senseless hatred, when it says hating someone for no real reason, we all hate people for great reasons. There's great reasons for hating them. I'm going to show you that you don't. You know why I hate him? I hate him because he screwed me over in business. Oh, okay. Do you hate everyone who screws someone else in business? No. Oh, so you don't hate him because he screwed you over in business. You hate him because he screwed you in business, okay? So it's not even about the business and it's not about the screw. What's it about? It's about you. I hate how he makes me feel, and I'm going to project it on him. See, people that you think, if you're for the, you shoot a cop, you die. Okay, listen, I'm unapologetically about that. Okay, you shoot a cop, I'll throw you off the cliff myself. We can talk about capital punishment later, but listen, you shoot a cop, you're dead. Okay, shoot a cop, you're dead. Do I hate the guy that shot the cop? No, I don't know him. So why would I kill him? Justice. Justice demands that he dies. He's evil. He has to die. Terrorist, die. Die. You're a rapist, castration. That's it. I don't have to hate you. It's not personal. It's justice. Justice. Justice has to be done. We have to have a society. You shoot a cop, you die. You rape, we got to deal with you. It's not. What does hatred have to do with it? The problem with the hatred is that it disables you from seeing the truth. Because of your hatred, it blinds you. So if you want to know how senseless hatred actually destroyed the temple, we read about it last night. I don't think it means I hate you because you're Ashkenazi and I hate you because you're American. That's not what that means. We read last night that the Rabbi of Jerusalem, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, was talking to his nephew, who was one of the captains, the heads, the generals of these zealots, of these religious zealots who wanted to fight the Roman army. And Rabbi Yochanan said to him, when are you going to realize that you're destroying everything? When are you going to realize it? Everyone's dying of starvation. And you know what he says to him? It's unbelievable. He says, well, I can't say anything because they'll kill me. Wait a minute. You're telling me, you're the captain. If you say to your followers, guys, we have a problem, everyone's dying of starvation, we have to do something about it, they're going to kill me. Why? That's crazy. But it's so obvious, isn't it? Isn't it so obvious that they're going to kill him? Isn't it so obvious that if you're the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan and you get together at your big Klan meeting and you say, guys, I know we've never really discussed this before, but maybe we shouldn't be hating black people so much. You're going to kill me. But why? Why would you kill me? Because you have a viewpoint that has been described as deplorable. That's hate speech. Saying something that I don't like is hate speech. You're heinous. You're in the basket of deplorables. You're a terrible person. I hate that idea. And if you espouse that idea, I don't have to think about the idea. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you for saying it. If you want to see how this plays out on in the beginning stages, read the newspaper. Read the newspaper. It's like I was watching the debate at Politicon between Cenk Unger and Ben Shapiro, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I like both of them. I think they're both very, very good at what they do. And one thing that bothered me deeply was the booing, and the jeering from the audience when someone was saying something they didn't like. I'm like, why are you booing? If it's just no good, then let it be no good. Why are you so angry about it? Why are you so unreceptive to it? Why does it hurt you to listen to it and to hear it? If it hurts you to hear it, you're going to pick it when they come to speak at your university. You're going to. You're going to start there. You're going to end with violence. It always does. Always does. So sinas chinam. The problem isn't the fact that you hate people. I think it's silly to hate because it doesn't really help you very much. The problem is that the reason that you hate it's not a real reason. It's just because you want to. It fits your agenda. So let's take this back for a moment to what the Gemara said. The Gemara says that, the first temple, we knew what the issue was. We knew how long it was going to take. The second one, the issue isn't clear. What do you mean the issue is not clear? The issue is very clear. The issue is I hate for my own agenda. What's unclear about that? Well, the simplest thing in the world. Your agenda is totally unclear. To you, you don't even know why you like what you like and hate what you hate. You never decided. We have no idea how to fix it. No idea. I don't know what the problem is. It's funny. In towards the beginning of the infant state of Israel, I think it may have been 1949, 1950, something like that. There was this Zionist conference where people got together to discuss who the new Jew is. What's the new Jew? We reject the old Jew, right? The Jew is not someone who keeps Shabbat. A Jew is not someone who learns Torah. A Jew is not someone who does any of these things. The new Jew is someone who loves the opera. The new Jew is someone who loves culture and music and literature and science and physics and all these things. So on the second day of the conference, there was this professor there who got up and spoke and said, well, just a little curious, can I be the new Jew if I don't like the opera and I don't like music and I don't like culture? What is the new Jew? You're telling me what he's not, and you're telling me what he could be, but what is he? And they couldn't define it. Why not? It's really hard to define that, isn't it? But that's why we don't have a temple, because we still don't have an identity. Fine. You want to see another example of where this played out in the United Nations? In the Zionism is Racism conference. This is fantastic. You can see the transcripts of the speech. You can watch it on YouTube. The United States ambassador to the United Nations gets up and says how disgusting it is that the United Nations has declared Zionism racism, when anyone who was there for the debates will realize that we began the debates by saying what is racism, and it shut down after the first day. We couldn't even define racism. The Americans and the Russians were arguing over what the definition of racism is. They tabled the discussion, said, screw it, we don't really care, and then designated Zionism to be racism. Seriously. Your agenda is whatever it is. This is a problem. We're going to do it. We're going to call it racism. What's racism? Shh, don't know. I don't like it. Whatever it is, I don't like it. Maybe calling a transgender person not actually the opposite gender, maybe that's racism. We've never had a debate. We don't have to. If you say something that I don't like, that I think threatens me, you're a racist. You're a hater. And therefore, it is a mitzvah. It's imperative for me to hate you. I must hate you. I have to hate you. You threaten my agenda. so I hate you. Another one, which is just a really, really fun one. You can have debates. This seemingly has nothing to do with Sinat, but you'll see that it does. We can have all the debates from today till tomorrow over whether or not everyone should get health care for free. We can have those debates. You know what no one's debating? We're $20 trillion in debt. $20 trillion in debt. It's not even a real number. Jeff Bezos can't even count that high. It's $20 trillion in debt. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Everyone who thinks about it knows exactly what's going to happen. They just don't know when. It's going to go. We don't know when, but it's going to go boom. No one in Congress talks about it. No one. No one. Why? Doesn't fit my agenda. You want to know how Sinat Chinam destroys your society? It's not because I'm not getting along with you. It's because I'm ignoring reality. So I have to keep creating new ideas to stabilize my reality. Things like calling things a certain way and defining reality that way. Things like allocating resources to certain things, whether or not we have those resources. If this is my agenda, I'm going to do it. The problem with Sinat Chinam is the same problem as Bechia Shel Chinam. Senseless hatred, senseless crying. The issue is the same. The issue is you're doing it because of your own agenda, not because of reality. So let's go back to what God's response is. You cried for nothing. I'm going to give you a reason to cry. He's not being a jerk. He's saving you. Do you know what the remedy to agenda is? Reality. Reality is the remedy. When you see the truth, I'll show you what it is. I will let you take your society and drive it off a cliff. And then when you're on the bottom of the cliff, you're going to understand. It's the reason that we're still stuck in the La Brea tar pits, because we can't figure out what our agenda really is. Can't figure it out. We're not honest about it. We have all these boxes of the things that we believe that we should do and the things that we believe that we should not do. But why? Perhaps we should analyze those things. Maybe we should start at the beginning. Maybe we should start at the beginning. To wrap up, I don't think Sinat Chinam is personal. I don't think it's that Jews didn't get along. I think it's that agendas don't get along. I don't like this idea, and therefore it's bad, and therefore it doesn't exist. I think that's what it means. I don't think it's about people not liking each other. I don't think people don't like each other that much. I just don't. I don't think that there was such widespread hatred that Jews were seeing each other in the street and being, I really don't like that guy. You don't even know him. Like, how bad can it be? I think that's what it means. But what I do see very, very often is people not liking certain ideas and therefore going like this. That I see all the time. And hating it. And because of the ideas, then I hate the person. I hate that person. Or you know why I hate that person? I hate him because he's Jewish. I hate him because he's black. I hate him because he's Arab. I hate him because he's Muslim. I hate him for all these reasons. I'm not going to think about why. I'm not going to talk about why. I have to hate him. It's a mitzvah to hate him. And then it's a mitzvah to kill him. And then your society goes kaput. So, as with most things, the key is the truth. The key is the truth. We need to identify our biases. We need to start owning our agendas. Being able to identify, and it's fine to like things and to not like things. That's fine. It's okay if I like people who are tall, I don't like people who are short. As long as I know in my mind that, oh, I like tall people, don't like short people, and there's no reason for that. It's a silly little proclivity. As long as you know that, that's fine. But if you don't, if you think that there's some external reality to why you love tall people and hate short people, if you think that, then you're denying reality. And then it's over. It's just a matter of time. It's just a question. I hope very, 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 very much that that we start taking the ideas of first learning. You got to learn Torah. We understand that. You have to learn Torah. You have to learn how to polish your character, how to become good. Before you can become great, you have to become good. How do I become good? But you have to learn for the purpose of becoming good. You can't learn because, oh, I'm Jewish and God said learn, and therefore I have to learn. Because if you're religious and you learn because God said learn, then you're not learning. You're a robot and you're reading words. That's not enough. And secondly, the things you like and the things you don't like, you have to learn to identify yourself in those things and not think, God forbid, that the truth has anything to do with what you like and with what you don't like. And I think that if we do that, we're halfway at least on our way to figuring out what we are as a people. And if we can find our way back as a people, then, well, we know what happens next. So have a meaningful Tisha B'Av.